Hey everyone, this is Chris from HashRelay.net, bringing you another end of the day market update. Today we're just going to dive right into it. You can see that the global market is about $418 billion. Daily trading volume is down to $17.3 billion. Bitcoin's creeping up that 34% mark. If we look at the global charts, we can see that for today, once it loads, today we've got a general uptrend, setting higher lows for every little dip. And even for the week, we can see a really nice growth line here. Though we can also see that the 24-hour volume is on a steady decline. However, for the month, we are still looking a little weak. So we'd like to pick up back above this $500 billion mark. And then I think once we do, we'll see some really strong growth in the markets overall. So if we go to the charts, Bitcoin's still broken out of this downtrend line here. Hasn't quite pushed up to test this uptrend. But it looks like with the growth of this uptrend, short-term uptrend here, which I can draw right there. With this uptrend, we can see that in the next couple of days we should be able to test this long-term uptrend line, possibly push on through. Though this is a very steep short-term uptrend line, and it won't offer much resistance if Bitcoin consolidates sideways. You see that we're still just above the yellow line on the MACD, very tiny bars on the histogram. We have dipped back down on the RSI, so we'll have to watch that for the next couple of days to see if it shows any further signs of weakness. Ethereum moves much like Bitcoin, so we can see it's still broken out above this short-term downtrend. We can draw another short-term uptrend for Ethereum. And you can see that this one is even more steep than the Bitcoin short-term uptrend, so we could potentially see Ethereum consolidate sideways through this uptrend line. What we'd like to see, though, is it continue on and break through this long-term downtrend. We still haven't come to test the yellow line on the MACD, though we are getting very short bars in the histogram here. It looks like on the RSI, it came up to bump the 50 mark and then dip back down a little bit. Litecoin, still in some consolidation mode after breaking out of its long-term downtrend. Bouncing around on the bottom of this uptrend here, which is going to offer some pretty stiff resistance for the time being, so the chances are we'll likely consolidate along this uptrend. Here we can see the MACD is curved up over that yellow line. We've got some tiny bars on the positive side of the histogram here. But again, another little bump down on the RSI. NEO showing some slight bit of positive growth for the day, though we're still in a downtrend. We're getting ever closer to this uptrend line here. Still south of the yellow line on the MACD, though the divergence on it is fairly flat. The histogram bars have stayed short for the past week or so. We do get a slight curve up off of that 50 line. I'd like to see it continue a little bit of a growth pattern here. At Steam, we have a short bar underneath this uptrend line. Still down on the MACD, could be getting a little bit more divergence from the yellow line, though the bars on the histogram look fairly flat. The RSI is angled south a little bit, may have just crossed over that 50 line. Yeah, just crossed over that 50 line. So we want to see it bounce back up over that for some positive news for Steam. Going to Komodo, we can see that it is consolidating sideways still, though it is getting ever closer to this uptrend line. If we can get a nice bounce off of that, we should be able to break through this long-term downtrend line within the next week or so. Getting very close to the yellow line on the MACD, very short bars in the histogram, though it is still south of that 50 on the RSI, and it looks like it's in a bit of a downtrend. Bitcoin has tested the downtrend line fairly solidly for the past few days, so it's likely that it'll consolidate down to this uptrend line before it makes its move up. We are almost in a sine wave over this yellow line on the MACD. We've got 2 or 3 crossovers and no real movements to top or bottom. It's a very flat line. Usually when they get to be that flat, we can see that it will either hold in a very long-term consolidation period, or we could experience a major shift in the positive for Vertcoin. The RSI is looking pretty weak. It's got a sharp trend down to it, so we want to see that it flattens out or comes back up in the next couple of days or so. If it manages to flatten out, we'll probably continue down this line. But if it gives even a little bump up, we are close enough to this downtrend line that it should break us through. Quantstamp also consolidating some more today. Again, likely see it moving straight across to this downtrend line, possibly to this intersection here. If it can bounce off this uptrend line, it has a good shot of breaking through this down. We tested this yellow line on the MACD, but didn't make a crossover. You can see that the bars on the histogram are getting a little bit longer, and having just broken south of the 50 line, we may get some retracement there, but it could also potentially bounce back up and come towards the 70, so we'll just have to watch the strength of Quantstamp over the next couple of days as well. Stellar Lumen has lost this uptrend line here, still a ways from the downtrend, so we're looking not very strong for Lumen. The MACD is still trending south of the yellow line, and the bars on the histogram look to be about flattened out. And the RSI does have a bit of a hook up, and it looks like it's coasting right at the 50 line there. So if that hook can push it just a little further north, we should be in some positive momentum for Lumen. Cardano, as I've said over the past couple of days, we want to watch for trading in this channel between these two downtrend lines, and it looks like it is following this long-term downtrend line further south. We have broken out of this uptrend line for a full bar. The MACD still south of the yellow line, still trading fairly narrow channel. Histogram bars haven't really changed much over the past few days, and it looks like we're flattening out on the RSI right around the 40 level. ELF has also lost its long-term uptrend line. We're seeing a little bit of a positive growth in the candle, but it's going to need to come back up above this line to break through that resistance. Otherwise, when we get to the intersection here, it's going to have both the resistance of the uptrend and the downtrend line working against it which won't be a very good sign for ELF. Here we can see the divergence from the yellow line on the MACD is getting a little bit further. Pink bars on the histogram are getting a little bit longer. We're seeing a pretty good downtrend on the RSI. Poet's had a pretty good few days. It is trading almost nicely in between the channel of these two uptrends. We can see that it's looking like it'll cross over the yellow line on the MACD here. And the RSI is just broken above this 50 line, so we can see some really strong positive momentum for Poet here. It no longer has a downtrend line to hold it in negative pressure. It's got a little bit of resistance from this uptrend line, but it still has mostly positive growth, and I think once we get above this previous consolidation point around the 850 Satoshi level, 850 to 900, then we should have more than enough momentum to break through to clear skies. So that'll be it for my end of the day market update. If you guys have any other coins that you'd like me to go through, any other technical analysis indicators that you'd like me to play around with, go ahead and leave me comments. If you like what you have seen in this video today and think it might be helpful for anybody else, go ahead and click the thumbs up and share with all your friends. And also, click the subscribe button, the little notification bell, so you're updated anytime I post a new video. And if you're on Steam, upvote and re-Steam. And if you follow me, I'll definitely follow you back. This has been Chris with HashRelay.net, and as always, I'll talk to y'all later.